Indrani?
Yes, I was muted, sorry. Now I'm unmuted. Anne says that, Bongi, well done with everything. That's wonderful, the work you do. Om Shanti, and God bless you. And so, yeah, okay, thank you. Oh, and also responded to when you asked, how's everyone? She said, okay, thank you, Om Shanti. Okay,
Oh, good.
thank you.
Thank you. For some reason, it didn't appear on my side. Not sure why. Anyway, so, you know, as I was listening to Bongi and just feeling how the soul had the power to free her mind. And it's when we free our mind that we can step into inner power. It's like when my mind is constantly locked in certain energies, it just keeps depleting my power. And Monday, Sister Raksha took us through very powerfully about the whole aspect of patience, hope, and stability with the self. And then we looked at how to draw that from God. And yesterday was very beautiful about how to be patient and have hope in the level of stability with others. And today it's the whole journey about life. But this morning, every morning we study. And one of our very senior teachers, Sister Mohini, who also was very much inspired and had taken deep inspiration from Dadi Janki. Over a period of time, she's been sharing. And this morning, well, it was there last night and our morning, I had learned about 10 steps to free the mind and to free my thoughts. And I thought it was so relevant that we could share that today, because in our theme of creating this level of stability and having that patience and the hope, only when the mind is free in a certain way do we respond to life in a powerful way. So I thought I summarized what she had shared last night, and I thought I'd like to share it with you. Well, actually, I heard it early this morning, and I thought I'd love to share that with you. So I'm just going to screen share. And so just on the whole aspect of stepping into that inner power with patience, hope, and stability. So these were 10 steps for freedom of thought. And I thought they were very important to share today, because I find that they actually deepen what we talk about in having that patience and stability. And I think it was something that Raksha also shared yesterday. But one of the areas, and this is the first step, that God's vision is like sunlight. This vision gives the soul whatever it needs. So if I really want to experience patience, hope, and stability, always to be able to look at God's vision for me. You know? And it's like the sunlight, and it's a very beautiful analogy that you may not have to say to the sun, now give me light, give me energy, give me power. But when we stay under the sunlight, there's growth, there's light, there's energy, everything that is needed. And so really in this journey, no matter what is happening along our life, just to constantly feel that God's vision on me is like sunlight. Huh? And the more and more I just hold that feeling, the more and more I will take from that source whatever the soul needs. And for that, it will create a deep, deep sense of stability in my being. The second aspect that was shared is observe the mind. And, you know, if I'm constantly being influenced by my senses, I'm constantly influenced by other people, then my mind will never be free. And when my mind is not free and it's highly influenced, it can never be stable and I will lose power. So the second step that Sister Mohini had shared is constantly to observe the mind. Yeah. And so when I'm able to observe the mind in that way, powerful things begin to happen. And really to check along the journey, where is my influences coming from? Because sometimes in life, we know what is good for us, but because the influence may be of a low frequency, we lose hope quickly, we lose our patience, and we become vulnerable. So to be constantly an observer of my mind. So it was the second step that Sister Mohini had shared, which is very beautiful. And the third step was when the thought is connected with God, we receive power. And power is needed to be free. So again, what happens is in our life, when there's fear, like we heard in the meditation, or when there's worry, when these kind of energies are there, my mind is constantly being depleted in certain energies. There's a constant flow of a discharge of energy that is actually happening. And so when I keep my mind connected with God, I will continue to receive power. And when this power is received, then the soul can actually be free. Yeah. And when there's that freedom in that way, then over a period of time, I can very deeply just connect. Can you just give me a second? I'm really sorry about this. I just have some sound coming through. One moment. Really sorry about this. Anyway, it also brought us to our 1 minute of silence. So I'd like us just to stop for that moment and draw that silence. Thank you. Sorry about the sounds in the background. Apologies. And so just that whole feeling that we need power within our life, and that worry, that fear, that doubt that we heard about in the meditation, these don't allow the mind to be free. And then we always act in an erratic way. We do things in our life that sometimes without much thought. They are very reactive energies that actually come into play. And so when I have freedom of thought, the soul can really be patient. It can maintain its hope and it can have that stability. So to check how much is my thoughts connected to God. And number 4, don't be influenced by others, but have good wishes. It's a very, very deep aspect. Sometimes people can influence us in many, many ways. Some people are just very powerful in their opinion. And if I'm not careful, their opinion becomes a reality. And when their opinion becomes a reality in my journey, then my attitude changes towards everything and anything. So I have to be very careful about the whole aspect of being caught up in somebody's powerful opinion. The other thing that also happens is that, sometimes one person may have had a negative journey with another person, but it doesn't mean that that's your story too. I know in spirituality, I've always learned that your karma is not necessarily the same as my karma. So maybe there's some person in your life you've had a very bad experience with, and then you tell me how terrible that person is. And then I get influenced by that thought. But if myself and that other person don't have a karmic account, they won't treat me like that, or I won't get affected by them that much. And so no matter what it is that comes into my life, and no matter what the influences that may be there along my journey, I just need to hold good feelings. And so just this whole aspect of good wishes in that way, when that mind holds those good wishes, there's a freedom of thought. I'm not caught up in he said, she said, my attitude got tainted in certain ways. Number 5, I have to encourage myself and I have to encourage others. The more and more I encourage myself and I encourage others, I'm not caught up in what should happen to me. My journey is not filled with expectations. And when my journey is not with expectations, I have the freedom of thoughts that I want to create. And it's when I have that kind of freedom, I can again maintain that level of patience, hope, and stability. If I'm not encouraging myself and I'm not encouraging others, if things happen along my own journey, I may become impatient with myself. I may lose hope. I may feel vulnerable. So sometimes our own journey can be locked up in all these kind of low frequency energies. But if I constantly have the ability to encourage myself and encourage others, then I'm looking beyond the obvious and I'm stepping into possibilities. I'm stepping into opportunities. And when there's possibility and opportunity, then hope is always alive. So very beautiful thought there by Sister Mohini around that aspect. The next aspect that she shared is have a good vision for everyone. And again, sometimes in our life, we see things and our mind can race, why is this person behaving like this? This shouldn't be how it is. They shouldn't be doing this. But as we see others, that's what we begin to draw out of them. It's a very, very powerful law of life. My attitude and my vision is like a magnet. If my attitude and my vision towards somebody is, oh, you never get anything right, you always do something wrong. There are sometimes people in your life, in their presence, even if you can do certain things properly, because their attitude towards you is sometimes one of, oh, I don't know if you can do this. Last week we were talking about trust. And so if they don't have a certain vision for you, In their presence, you don't have a certain confidence. You don't have a level of hope in your journey. And so in the same way, when I maintain a good vision towards everyone in that way, that energy in itself will create a lot of hope, and it will allow that person to grow into who they are. You know, our vision feeds patience. Our vision feeds hope. Our vision can support stability. So when Sister Mohini this morning shared about have a good vision for everyone, you know, these are very much whatever we're talking about here, and we've been really working with Daddy Janki's book, Wings of Soul. And this morning when I was listening to Sister Mohini, and when these 10 steps came up, I really felt I wanted to share them with you today as fresh food, because these are the energies that then create that deep, deep level of hope. And so really to look in your life and look at those around you. And as this point, step number 6 says, have good vision for everyone. What you see in life, and this is the law of life, what you see in life is what you'll get from life. Yeah. You know, they say in the world, if you only look at pebbles, like a swan is a very beautiful example. There may be a lake, and the swan only looks for pearls. It's able to discriminate between the pebble and the pearl. And it knows how to recognize the pearl and take that pearl and add value to its life. So similarly, when my vision only sees good, I add value in my life, and that creates deep stability and power within my journey. The 7th point, have patience and trust in me. And you can see I was typing it this morning. Have patience and trust in myself. So Sister Mohini was just sharing how at this time, along this journey, we are really every day on our journey growing. And sometimes along this journey, you know, sometimes for a long time, you've been in such a good space and you've really enjoyed the fullness of who you are. And one day you just see your strange habits come up. And you think, gosh, do I still have this level of anger? Or do I still have this level of judgment or reactive energy or low self-esteem, whatever it may be? These things come up because, you know, we're not perfect yet. So things will be beneath the surface. And sometimes the water on the top may look clean and you think, well, it's fine. But that which is settled right at the bottom of the bucket, about time, it sometimes comes to the top. And you begin to see the things coming to the top and you wonder, oh, was this still in me? So Sister Mohini was just sharing that we have deep things along our journey that we still need to work with. And so just to have that patience and trust in the self, so that again I experience freedom of thought. Because otherwise we see certain behaviors in ourselves and the mind gets so caught up in that. And when the mind gets caught up in that, I lose my power. Yeah. So a very nice aspect. And then the 8th point that Sister Mohini shared this morning is learn not to take from the outside. Now, this may sound a bit, people say, but we're living in this world and everything around me is there. But, you know, you are precious. And, you know, like at this time, when the virus was around and is around and we were impacted by the virus, we had to put on protective measures and take those protective measures so that we remained safe. And so we see today in the world, there are many viruses that are there, emotional viruses, spiritual viruses. There are many things out there which are not good for my being. They either destroy me, they make me sick, they take away my power. And so again, to be aware where it is that I'm taking from. When we talk about not taking from outside, meaning not to take from that which is not authentically serving your being. You know, the soul is peace and love and purity and power, and it belongs to God, who's also peace, love, purity, and power. And we're living this life with purpose, which is to serve and give back peace, love, purity, and power. So when I understand my whole purpose in life, then I don't get distracted from my journey. Because once you start taking from the outside, that is never always sustainable. And when things are not sustainable, there will be fluctuation. And then when we see things that are fluctuating, we lose hope. We feel the instability that comes in life. And so just that whole aspect. And then the ninth point that Sister Moini shared was just the whole aspect of using complete spiritual knowledge to keep the whole perspective of time, to finish everything at the thought level. You know, there's a word that is often used in Hindi, and she actually used that word, and I translated it to put it here. But she used the word Swadharshan Chakradhari, which is a really long word and complicated word. But it means the one who's able to see the three aspects of time. And what happens in our life is that sometimes certain things happen in this moment, and especially sorrow. You know, when we are impacted by certain level of sorrow, we can't see any other reality. And so, you know, sorrow is very self-absorbing and can keep you very, very busy. And it can also have the experience that this is my only reality. And yet we know that maybe an hour ago life was different. An hour ago, hour later, life can also be very different. And so when I keep life and my thoughts in perspective, then when I experiencing something in my mind, I don't get stuck in my mind to think this is my only reality. So when I experience freedom of thought from that space, then I don't lose hope, and I maintain my stability, and I remain patient. So just never get caught up in just this moment. Certain things in our life seem so urgent. Certain things in our life feels like there's nothing else about life. But there was a minute ago and there's a minute after. There was a day ago and a day to come. Everything in life moves. Nothing is stagnant. Nothing stays forever as it is. So when I become aware of that and keep with knowledge, keep the perspective of time in that way, many beautiful things happen. And then Sister Moini shared this morning the 10th point, increase spiritual depth and thought that I naturally am able to serve others and my mind remains free. So when I increase my spiritual depth, increase spiritual depth, and through that I naturally am able to serve others and my mind remains free. And that's it. You know, don't just wait in life when things happen. You know, a tree, when its roots are deep into the ground, when a storm comes, it's able to wither the storm because its roots are deep in the ground. And similarly in our life too, we need to increase our spiritual depth. Don't just wait for situations to come. Don't just wait for life to present certain things and say, okay, I'll see what I need to do in that moment. But let me every day deepen my inner space. Let me deepen this journey within. And then when there's that spiritual depth, then if things do happen in my life in a certain way, I'm able to remain more positive. I'm able to be patient. I'm able to not lose hope. And in that way, I can step into my inner power. So these were the 10 points that came up from this morning's class. I was listening to it very early this morning as I was listening to the live moment of the talk by Sister Moini. And when these 10 points came up, and when I thought we're talking about patience, patience, hope, and stability, and it was summarized as the 10 steps of freedom of thought, I thought they were so relevant to what we are talking about. So I tried to put it in point form. And I hope that as much as I took a lot of power from this, that this could also support your journey today. So just look at it for a moment, and I want you to just look at these points and see how these points help you to step into your own inner power through patience, hope, and stability. Just close your eyes for a moment and see which point your eyes rests on, because that point wants to talk to you. Close your eyes for a moment. Open your eyes and look at which point just comes in front of you, because it's telling you something. Okay. So,
Sister Dipti,
hello.
can I share something on hope?
Please do.
You know, the reason I'm saying this is that you were very powerfully mentioning that how we get influenced by others' opinions because they're so opinionated. We tend to actually buy into that. And so I remember a lecturer came to me one day and she said, you are going to get a group of new students, but one of the students is a very lovely student, but this student is very weak. He tends to fail all his tests. So in my mind, I thought, since when we became judges of others, I will wait and see. I'm not going to get influenced by that opinion. And so when the student came in, I made him the rep for the class, and this raised his self-esteem, and every test he was passing. And at the final exam, when it was external exam, he managed to get a 60% pass. And he was so happy. And because we recognized his worth and had this vision of hope. You know, you said, I always looked at him and I said, this is such a beautiful soul. He has the ability. And just to have that vision of hope creates such a shift in the soul's mindset. Yes, thank you, Sister Dipti, for that powerful message. Thank you.
No, it was so important, as you sharing, Sister Indrani. I also was a school teacher, and I really saw how, especially in the staff room, one has to be so careful because certain children get discussed And, you know, it's the most terrible thing that can be done to any child. And then you hear about this kid, and then when you walk into your class, can you keep your vision clean? Because you have you owe it to yourself, you owe it to that child to keep your vision clean, because he has all the right to grow on his journey. So yeah. Anybody else? Let's talk. Let's talk. When we looked at those 10 steps, what resonated with you? You know, this was fresh food from this morning. That number 4. I'm trying to, can I go see what was number 4? Okay, so number 4, don't be influenced by others, but have good wishes. Yeah. Really, no matter what happens, just to maintain that level of good wishes. Anybody else? Feel free if you need to talk.
Shanti, may I make a contribution?
Yes, Maseke, please do. Just a little louder, hey? Yeah.
I am attracted to the very first one, where we need to
I'm so
see
sorry.
God.
I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear too well. Just a little louder, Maseke.
Am I better now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks. I'm saying I'm attracted to the very first one, where we need to see God as sunlight. Because if you sit under the sunlight, I would say in our body consciousness, the sunlight is one example of us being equal. We all get it. The only thing is with soul consciousness, you need to choose to connect. The sunlight is forever available, but you need to choose to connect. Thank you.
Beautiful, Maseke. Thank you. And Cynthia was saying, I'm just going up a little. Cynthia was saying, have patience and trust in myself. This is what resonates with me from this lesson. Yes. You know, sometimes you think, gosh, so many years later, this is still around, you know, and we have to just be patient and trust the self. And Anne, you were saying number 3. We'll look at number 3 again. And Roddy, okay. Okay. Good. Have patience and trust in myself. Nana. Yes. You know, all these aspects are very, very vital within our journey, when we can look at it and every day just to do things that help us to step into that inner power. Any last thoughts, anyone? I'm going to put that screen up one more time so you can just look at these aspects.
Mr. Deputy, I'm here.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. For me, number 4, it says, don't be influenced by others. It's easier for us who knows that actually we are not supposed to be influenced by others. But if you take this in the corporate world, just like at school, the executives, the people who are leaders in the corporate, they always share about their subordinates. And that becomes very difficult where maybe you apply for a job or in another department, you find that actually that manager already knows stuff about you, that you are this kind of a person. And it becomes difficult when the people actually, they they are influenced by others and they are in a position of power. They are in decision-making positions about other people. But for us who knows that each time when somebody tries to influence your mind about something else, it's easier when you know that I don't have to allow this to really temper with my views of this person. But we are living in this world, you must be real about it. People who are in positions of power are influenced by thoughts of other people.
Yeah.
And I'll run to number 10. Increase, we must always increase our spiritual depth. This one resonates with me in this sense that if you made a good analogy that the tree has to deepen its roots at all times so that when the storm hits, it's not shaking. And from a human point of view, it just says if you really deepen our spiritual depth, some storms will blow, some situations, some situations will erupt around you. You really don't have to realize and recognize every little storm. Some will just come and they will even vanish without you realizing that actually there was a storm here because the depth of your roots are really down. So that one resonates with me that
Yeah.
it
Good.
tells me that really if my roots are down, yes, there will be storms in my life that I will recognize, I will see them blowing, but some little ones they will blow. I won't even recognize them. The people around you, they will see that. How do you carry this so strong, so well? And you don't even realize that actually you're carrying something that is a challenge to other people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So true. Yeah. So I see time is running, and I saw this last from Maria. Maria, is it these thoughts, or is there, I'm just needing to understand what it is, the 8 aspects slide. Maria, if you could just clarify it for me.
Shantae, sister.
Hello.
Yes, greetings. I was meaning the slide. Is there any possibility that it can be sent to the chat group so that we copy it and save it and then use it on daily basis to just do a mind check? That,
Nice thought.
yes, because these are very, very useful thoughts.
Yeah. Danielle, is it any way possible that we can do that? Danielle?
Yes, what you can do is perhaps take a screenshot.
Yeah, it can be taken as a screenshot. Yeah, that could be done. Or otherwise we can find a way to, because as soon as this closes, it won't be on the chat anymore. So maybe it's good, Maria, if you just take a screenshot of this. It seems to work quite okay. I don't know if that helps. Yeah. All right. Thank you all. So let us end off with a meditation. Once again, I invite you just into a moment of stillness, a moment of silence, to understand that each one of us is a powerful being. The most beautiful freedom of life is the freedom of thought. when I can be free in my mind, my life is naturally patient, hopeful, and stable. I bathe each moment in God's sunlight. I stay connected to the source and allow the source to fill me with power. And as I feel this power, there's deep, deep cleanliness within my being. My heart becomes clean, and I'm able to have good feelings for myself and those around me. And as my mind is filled with that love and power, I become uninfluenced by others, and my heart is filled with good feelings. I continue to bathe in the sunlight of God, and the sunlight allows me to be more patient with myself and trust myself more as my journey blooms. I continue to absorb God's sunlight. In the sunlight, I'm able to see life as a whole, all aspects of time. I maintain perspective and hold the power. Bathing in your sunlight, God, you take me deep. And in this depth, everything becomes okay. I stay with you, O divine being, the true sunlight of my life. Thank you, everyone. Have a powerful day.
Thank you. Same for you.
Thank you, Sister Diti.
Pleasure. Pleasure. Sister Indrani, you'd like to talk about these two lovely programs?
Yeah, we're having this upcoming programs, and the first one is about love stories, encounters with the divine, love from the divine source. Just now we've heard that beautiful, powerful meditation from Sister Dipti, and how to connect with the divine, and dealing with loss and grief, which is very helpful, a very powerful program. While grieving a loss is an inevitable part of life, it can feel overwhelming, but definitely we can get there with our spiritual sustenance. And our speaker is Dr. Raksha. She's had lots of experience, and she can give you powerful tools to deal with this. Thank you. Have a great day and a powerful day with the